Well, welcome in, race fans, and welcome to the new Smyrna Speedway for round number 12 for the American Sim Racing Club's Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. Heat race number 1
Green flag.
up on the racetrack, and we are underway in green racing here this afternoon already. Welcome you all in here to tonight's broadcast. Is heat race number 1 up on the racetrack as we get ready to go. Brett Hahn set fast time in qualifying, and it is Kate Hahn out to the early race lead
Big
over
crash.
Kemp.
Caution.
Yellow flag coming out really early on in this one. We want to take a moment and thank you all for tuning on in, and we'll be right back. And just like that, we are back here at the new Smyrna Speedway. Heat race number 1 on the racetrack. And we'll bring you all tonight's racing action courtesy of the great sponsors here on the Turn 3 Racing Network and family of friends here for the American Sim Racing Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. And we got our sponsor of Tallarico Boardwalk Subs, caution flag sponsor. We thank them, serving West Michigan. Premier Racing Setups and LaPlante Racing Products, and of course our fearless leader up in the booth, Tanner Tallarico, behind all the scenes here, making it all happen for us. So heat race number 1 going to come back out onto the racetrack, and we're going to go back green flag racing momentarily. Green flag back out. Kemp going to step on the loud pedal over Brett Hahn. Here comes McDonald and DeWeese there battling it out as they work up here through turns 3 and 4. Just a little bit over 5 minutes remaining here in heat race number 1. We have 2 heat races coming at you, both 8 minutes in distance. 8 minutes or 50 laps, whatever comes first. Right now, the field working here through turns 3 and 4. Brett Hahn has a bead to the back bumper. Looking from high above the racetrack here this evening. You got Kemp out front running that middle lane here in a very beautiful Wednesday evening in New Smyrna. Track just down the road from the big Daytona International Speedway, where, well, the real world will start to hone in on as we got the 24 hours of the Daytona and the real world racing out there this weekend. I want to thank you all for tuning on in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Let these drivers know that you appreciate their efforts. And right now, Brett Hahn trying to make something happen as they roll down the backstretch. Hahn on the outside wall. Devin McDonald is 3rd. Braxton DeWeese is 4th. Steve Hoffman in that number 5 position. Behind him is Noah Boucher in the car number 16. Braden Cook, Eric Hahn, and Mark Welch in the pit area after yellow flag number 1 coming out a little bit earlier on. So everybody doing a good job. And how about Papa Han out there in that race car as they flash here by. But up front, it is the number 71 trying to get around the 5 of Kemp. Kemp working the outside as they roll down here through the corner. We'll go on board. Look out the back side of your race leader at Kemp. Holding off Brett the Jet Hahn. Now Brett looks down to the inside here with 2 minutes to go. He's got a beat to the inside. Can he make a move on him? Not quite yet. Kemp up the racetrack. Hahn down low. Challenge for your race lead at the line. It's Kemp by a half a car. Great battle here in heat race number 1 as they roll down the backstretch, still side by side. Now Kemp will roll the outside and hold off the 71 of Hahn. Hahn working it down here in the 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Devin McDonald and Braxton DeWeese starting to close in there. Hang on to it, McDonald. Sideways and handsome off of turn number 2 he was. He'll hold on to it, but now he's got the Interstate Ford Mustang right there behind him. Trying to move up 1 row on tonight's starting grid. Braxton DeWeese taking a look now down to the inside. Backs out of it, will roll the bottom. Unable to get by the number 18 of McDonald. Braxton DeWeese there, and Steve Hoffman right there behind him in car number 86. Hoffman not able to make the tow 1 week ago. Is up front under a minute left to go. Brett Hahn is going to have to make something happen if he would like to get by. They come on down the front stretch. Roughly just under 2 laps to go. Hahn now with a bit to the inside. Too much momentum on the outside for Kemp. Kemp has it, holding him at bay, but here comes Hahn. Was he saving a little something? Just over 1 lap to go. Hahn gonna get white flag, will be out. DeWeese up the racetrack. Something happening to Braxton DeWeese. He falls from 4th back to 5th as all eyes are on the front of this one. Final trip into 3 and 4. Hahn not gonna send it in. Gonna try to get a run on him. Cuts it down low. It'll be a drag race to the start-finish line. But Kemp will hold on to it. Hahn will come home second. McDonald, Hoffman, DeWeese, Noah Boucher, Brandon Cook, and Eric Hahn will round out your running order. Mark Welch will get credited for finishing in spot number 9. Taking a look here at your starting lineup for heat race number 2. And it is going to look like this as they list the lineup behind your pace car. Your starting lineup is going to be Hayden Swank on the pole outside of him. Car number 51, the driver out of Michigan. This is Ron Hart. Nick Fleury and Caleb Mojeski will roll off in row number 2. Row number 3 going to be Charles Darling and Zach Coyer. Lewis Flowers will roll off 7th, and outside of him the 45 of Andrew Hardings. And shotgun on the field, the number 2 of John DeMeester. That is your 9-car starting field here in heat race number 2. As the field rolls down here. Welcome you all in. I want to thank you guys for being a part of tonight's broadcast here at the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Invitational presented by Hometown Sunoco. Whether it is your daily driver or your race car, Sunoco power and victories one way or another. Green flag getting ready to come on out here. And it does so here. Heat race number 2 up on the racetrack, and Hart going to work to the outside, trying to hold off Swank. He will do so. A little bit of contact as they roll down here through turns 3 and 4. Lap number 1 going to go into the books, and Ron Hart going to be a race leader. Early on in this one, it looks like the outside is the lane you want to restart. See a battle back here between Coyer and Darling. They are side by side. This is the battle for the 5th spot. Some contact. Hang on to it, Chuck. Trouble. The 62 of Flowers involved in the Birch Run Speedway. Gonna come to a sliding stop here on the front stretch as Chuck Darling will go around, and that brings out our Tallarico Boardwalk sub-yellow flag. Let's take a look here and see. They come off the corner. Darling, caught the apron and just into the door panel. And slight contact to the right rear. I think Lewis Flowers is going to have the most damage out of anybody here in heat race number 2. You see the right front crinkled up there pretty good. Good news is the team can get that car banged on out, and he'll have a brand new looking piece come time for tonight's feature event. Field rolls back in. Ron Hart going to choose the outside. We'll see how that will go in there. Is the yellow flag coming back out off the racetrack, and back in the green flag conditions we go. Hart over the quick time Motorsports media entry of Hayden Swink, who runs there in spot number 2. Nick Fleury's in 3rd. Woljeski in the 99, and we got Braden Andrew Harding's working that extreme high side of the racetrack. And that beautifully looking race car, you see it working down the backtrack. Zach Coyer right there behind them as well. Up front though, Ron Hart showing the way over to 35. Swank trying to make a look to the inside. Will go on board with the driver out of Woodstock, Georgia. Down here through turns 3, 1 and 2, you just can see the 51 getting a good run. And the top 3 cars have gotten away from the rest of the field early on in this one. Just closing in on the halfway point in heat race number 1 and 2. And we'll have our 100-lap main event coming at you here as the sun starts to set in New Smyrna. It is the 35 of Swink in second. They're all chasing the 51 of Ron Hart. He started on the outside of the front row with his Toyota Camry. And he is taking the race lead, and he is trying to hold on to it. New Smyrna, one of those tracks that is a driver's favorite, but also a very frustrating racetrack to be behind the steering wheel of. As when you run here, it's very difficult to pass. We're going to see how this dynamic track comes in and who saves their equipment and who does not here this evening. That'll be a big part of it. 2:45 to go here in the heat race, and you can see the top two starting to now get away from Nick Fleury. Fleury back there in that number 2 spot. Field rolls up off of turn number 4. A little bit deeper in the field, though. Charles Darling has gotten back around Moljeski. Moljeski into the 5th spot. Zach Coyer runs in 6th. 7th spot is John DeMeester and Andrew Hardings and Lewis Flowers. Up off the corner, 2 minutes to go. Here in our final heat race of the evening, heat race number 2, and it has all been Ron Hart up on the front of this one. Took the green flag from the outside of the front row and has never looked back, though his mirror very full of that black and purple number 35. As they work down here, 1:25 to go to about 6 laps to go. You can see them running about the same line now. Nick Fleury starting to close back in. Fleury was starting to lose touch with him, maybe experimenting, trying to find what's going to work, what's not going to work. As you see the 35 get a little bit sideways. Down the back stretch they go. Ron Hart showing the way. Swank in the number 2 spot. Fleury 3rd. Chuck Darling in 4th. Caleb Moljeski 5th. Zach Coyer 6th. And John DeMeester rounds out the cars on the racetrack. As you take a look at the 99 of Caleb Moljeski. Now white, blue, and purple number 99. $20 seconds left to go. Down here into turns 3 and 4. Ron Hart showing the way. White flag is out. It'll be a race to the checkered flag as they work down here in the turns 3 and 4. Final trip off of 4. And Ron Hart is going to pick up the Heat Race 2 win. He'll start outside pole. Swank 2nd. 3rd to Fleury. Darling 4th. Moljeski, Coyer, DeMeester, Hardings, and Flowers. And that will be it for your qualifying efforts here this evening. As the field will go into a warm-up period, and as they do that, we're going to step aside, pay some bills right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. You're watching the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. Tallarico's Boardwalk Subs, Jersey-style soups, subs, and salads serving West Michigan. Premier Racing Setups and LaPlante Racing Products. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
Do what you can do, man.
Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Woo!
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
It is almost feature time. We are going to take a look here at your starting lineup. So we get ready to go with tonight's 100 lap main event. Let's take a look here at your starting lineup. Starting on the inside of row number 1, he picked up the heat race in the No Chance Motorsports car number 5. This is Matt. In that number 1 position outside of him, the driver out of Michigan picked up heat race number 2. Looked pretty stout here this evening at New Smyrna. This is Ron Hart. The fastest man at New Smyrna during qualifying time trials, this is Brett the Jet Hahn out of Michigan. And outside of him, the number 35, the driver out of Woodstock, Georgia, making a surge late in this season. This is Hayden Swank. The driver out of Newfoundland will roll off 5th. That is Devin McDonald. And outside of him, the number 25 of Nick Fleury. Starting on the inside of road number 4, Stephen Hoffman in car number 86, Chuck Darling will roll off 8th. 9th will be Braxton Deweese, Caleb Mojeski. 10th, Noah Boucher was scheduled to start 11th, Zach Coyer 12th, and the rest of your starting field will be Braden Cook in 13th, John DeMeester in the number 2 spot, or 12th, and the number 2 will start 14th. Your 15th starter will be Eric Hahn in the 7-11, Andrew Hardings, Mark Welch, and Lewis Flowers is how they will roll. Let's take a look at your race info. 1 extra set of tires in there. 100 laps is tonight's main event. The new Smyrna Speedway with temperatures 85 degrees, partly cloudy with 6-mile-an-hour winds. Track though 89 degrees as we get ready to go. Well, glad to have you all in here ready to go racing as the truck goes down, the field rolls off the corner. We are underway with tonight's 100-lap main event. Down in the turn 1 they go, and it is going to be Kemp with the nose out front. Ron Hart, 1 car sideways. Mr. McDonald, Braxton DeWeese going to go for a slide for life. He comes to a stop, and Brett Hahn, picking up the win last week in Milwaukee, has to start shotgun, but we had a lot just happen right there as the yellow flag came out. Let's take a look back here and see. You see the 18 go around off the front of it. Looks like Stephen Hoffman automobile. See if we can go back. We'll go back to the start of this one. Take a look here from a different vantage point. We'll keep an eye on the 18. Of Devin McDonald. You see him working there underneath the 35 of Swank. Came up the racetrack, slight contact, got sideways and just got behind on the wheel. Oh, Lewis Flowers, hard contact with that 62 car. Hahn and the 8 of Deweese come to a stop. Braxton Deweese is now on pit road with that number 8 as our Tallarico Boardwalk subs, yellow flag of the race. But meanwhile, up front, lights are out around the racetrack, and it is Kemp, Hart on the front row, Swank and Fleury row number 2. Darling will restart 5th. Mojeski is 6th. Coyer and Hoffman. Cook in the 7-11 of Eric Hahn, rounding out your top 10. Field rolls through turns 3 and 4. We're going to get back underway. Green flag is back out. Down in the corner to the 99 of Mojeski up the racetrack. Meanwhile, Kemp got a great fire in front of the 51 of Hart. Here comes the 86 of Hoffman trying to make some moves up. Want to keep an eye on that 71 of Brett Hahn, who works there as we watch the good battle up down the back stretch. We go high above with our Sunoco blimp. Wojcicki working it outside of the racetrack, not quite there yet. Ran fastest lap of the race though last time by for your race leader Kemp, who was trying to run away and hide. As now he's got Zach Quayer to the inside. Brett Hahn already into the 11th position. Braxton DeWeese trying to make his way up through the back through the field. As DeWeese had gone around. Is right now you see him trying to work around the 45 of Andrew Harding. 71 of Brett Hahn right there in front of him. Everybody getting the single file format as they work here down the back stretch. One car sideways. I believe that was the 16 of Noah Boucher. And Boucher almost getting into that entrance to the pit area. He'll come out in front of your race leader, Matt Kemp, who works down the back stretch. Kemp opening up to about a 15 car length advantage over Hart. Hart trying to hold off the 35 of Swank. And Swank been one of those drivers that has been on a surge here as of late. Already 10 laps past us, working lap number 12, and you see this battle. Hart got a little bit sideways, but keeping the car as straight as possible, going to try to save those rear tires. And I can tell you that that is going to be a key here this evening, is keeping those tires happy. As Brett Hahn has gotten by the 7-11. Braxton DeWeese, you just saw it at the top of your screen. That Interstate 4 got a little bit of right front damage. Got to wonder how bad it's going to hamper the handling. Here, New Smyrna, a fairly quick racetrack. Handling will come into play as Ron Hart starting to close back in on the race leader. Now, let's take a look at the last time by. Kemp ran a 75, everyone else in the 9s and the 8s. So Kemp trying to set a very quick pace. Last time he went even. Now they'll even themselves out. Top three all running the same speed. Closing in on the 125th mark. Eric Hahn coming down pit road, it looked like. Not sure what happened to him, but he's back to the 15th position. So a tough break for the 7-11. Let's take a look at him. Maybe he got loose one lap ago. A little bit deeper, Stephen Hoffman trying to work his way forward. He's trying to chase down the 88 of Chuck Darling, who's right there in front of him. Darling, well, I think he would tell you, not one of the seasons he would like to write home about. Trying to right the ship here, gain some momentum in the later stages of this season. This is race number 12. They work down here. We keep an eye on Hoffman. Meanwhile, your race leader starting to work some lap traffic. I believe Kemp just got around Noah Boucher. He does. As Eric Hahn trying to close in on the Meester. You got Zach Quayer running in that 7th spot. And last week's winner from the mile, number 71, is Lewis Flowers, back out onto the racetrack, and he's going to blend back in. Flowers, hard contact. As they work down here through the corner, and you see Hahn now to the inside of Moljeski, and that's going to open the inside lane for Braxton DeWeese. And DeWeese is going to make quick work of that. So DeWeese now into the 9th position is the number 99 of Moljeski back to 10th. So good battles around this racetrack. Ron Hart, though, still holds on to that spot as they work down here through turns 1 and 2. The single file formation, this time off turn 4. 1/4 of this race already gone, and what is a very quick pace being set out there. Charles Darling up the racetrack, or that's the Hoffman in that 5th spot. Zach Coyer applying some pressure to the Hoffman 86 as we're on board with a driver out of Tennessee. Trying to make something happen, and you look out the backside, he's got Chuck Darling. Darling is starting to see the 71 of Brett Hahn right there behind them. The 35. That's the 16 there of Noah Boucher. Boucher's got some front end damage to the LaPlante Racing Products. Number 16 in the Asphalt Engineering car. Braden Cook up the racetrack. Hang on to it, Braden. He's running that high side, trying to get the Kyle Larson line to come in, and that was not quite there. Nick Fleury still runs in that 4th spot, and you got to believe that that driver feeling that this was going to maybe go green for a while, saving his stuff. Letting the leaders kind of get out there as Matt Kemp has opened it up to a 1.4 second lead at one point. Now Hart, though, starting to close the gap here as your top 3 all still mirroring each other's lap times. Down here into the corner. Last time by, Hart was the quicker car on the racetrack, running an 18.12. So you see the gap between 1st and 2nd on your race on the screen. And the same about equal gap back to Hayden Swink. Everybody just kind of riding this, get into a groove, trying to save their tires. Matt Kemp, though, shows the way, has since the green flag has dropped. A little bit deeper in the field, Moljeski runs there with the big. This is a good battle right here. We've got a bunch of cars stacked up. The 86 of Hoffman has 5th, and he's got some hungry racers behind him. Chuck Darling has gotten to the backside of the 13 now of Zach Coyer. Coyer in that Michigan number 13. Holds on to that spot, the 88 of Chuck Darling in spot 7, and he's got some company in the form of the 71 of Hahn and DeWeese. So everybody minding their own P's and Q's. We had that one yellow flag so far early on in this race as the 18 of Devin McDonald got loose He got tagged by Hoffman. Nowhere for Hoffman to go as the 18 just got loose after contact with the 25 of Fleury on the opening lap. And Deweese, or McDonald in that 18 car, has rebounded to the 12th position. He closes on the 49 of Braden Cook. Hoffman still leads it now. He's gone to the outside of the speedway. Here comes the 13 digging down low. He is digging like a gold miner on a hot trail. Can't do anything with him though. Right to the back bumper. He goes a little bit of a love tap. Says, hey, I am here. Maybe gives him the Teddy Christopher 3-tap rule. As Coyer sees it in the mirror and on the relative. He's got some fast company there behind him. That time Hoffman up the racetrack. Oh, hang on to it. Darling a little bit out of shape. That opens the inside line for Deweese. Deweese down to the inside. Can't do anything with him. Now Hondo to the outside of Chuck Darling. Darling with a fantastic turn 1 and 2 though. Able to hold off the 71 as now Deweese goes on attack. Braxton Deweese down to the inside of Hahn. Brett Hahn up the racetrack. Deweese gonna get on by. So move Deweese up to 8th in the interstate number 8. Meanwhile, Coyer really wants that 5th spot. Gets up underneath the 86 of Hoffman. Hoffman scrapes the outside wall in the turn 1. Able to have it Coyer down to the inside. Contact, trading some paint. Hoffman up the racetrack. He's going to give up that 5th spot to Zach Coyer. Now Darling with a look to the inside. He will get on by the number 86 of Hoffman as we go on board looking out the left side. You can see the drivers looking there to the inside of Hoffman. We go up here with our drone cam working around the new Smyrna Speedway. Good battles. Now Darling going to get on by as well as we close in on the halfway point of what is a very fast race. Darling gets a little bit out of shape. Braxton Deweese trying to figure out which lane to go with. Same with the 71 of Hahn. As we watch this battle, the battle up front starting to heat up as Ron Hart has closed it in within a half a second of your race leader. Matt Kemp up front, but Ron Hart there as we take a look back here at the front of the field in just a moment. Ron Hart trying to close back in and has done so. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go back to this battle. Hoffman up the racetrack. He'll slide back to the 7th spot as both Deweese and Hahn gets by, and they set sail trying to close in on this lead group. Zach Coyer trying to make up some 2 seconds on 4th place running Nick Fleury. As lap traffic starting to become a factor for your race leaders. Ron Hart is there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Ron Hart trying to close in on that race leader. You can see the back end step out on that number 5 of Kemp. Oh boy, look at how much he closes in that through that corner. Great battle shaping up for your race lead. One thing is getting there, another one's going to get by as we are past the halfway point. Matt Kemp leads it. He's led it since the green flag is dropped. Ron Hart is second. Hayden Swank third. Fourth spot is Nick Fleury. Fifth goes to the 13 of Zach Coyer. That roundings out your top 5. Chuck Darling up 2 spots, runs in the 6th spot. 7th spot is Braxton Deweese. And Brett Hahn runs 8th. 9th spot is Stephen Hoffman, and right behind him is the number 99 of Mojeski. Mojeski rounding out your top 10 in that number 99. Devin McDonald in the 18 runs there in spot number 11. Braden Cook is 12th. 13th is Andrew Hardings. Eric Hahn rounds out the cars on the lead lap. John DeMeester runs in 15th. 16th is Noah Boucher. Lewis Flowers runs 17th. And Mark Welch was unable to get back out onto the racing surface here. As the battle between Hahn and Deweese heats up. And Ron Hart is there. We need almost a split screen. Capture all this action just past the halfway point. Hart with a look down low. Did the 5 of Kemp use up his stuff? Matt Kemp looking to the inside. Ron Hart switches up to the outside, trying to figure out how he's going to get by your race leader with 41 laps to go. Working lap number 60, the Edgewater number 5 of Matt Kemp out on the front of this one. Showing the way. Ron Hart there stalking your race leader. Hayden Swank runs there in spot number 3. Braxton Deweese, though, is the battle for the 5th spot. Still a good one. 4 cars underneath the blanket as they work up off the corner. And these drivers know without a yellow flag, they are trying to get as many positions as possible. 62 laps in, working lap 63 is now Kemp starts to pull back away from Hart as we watch this battle. Inside the top 5. You see him right here, but Ron Hart down the backstretch. There's half a track separating these guys from the battle for 5th. And Ron Hart not able to do anything with Kemp, though he has caught him and trying to make something happen. Really closes in on him this time off of turn number 2. Will lap traffic come into play in the late stages of this 100 lap contest? Oh, up the racetrack, Darling goes, trying to make something happen. On to 13. Mojeski now with a run on Hoffman. Hoffman up on the outside of the racetrack. He is up in that 3rd groove. Mojeski will get on by, so move Hoffman back to 10th. Devin McDonald trying to make some ground up towards the front of this one, unable to do so. One car up the racetrack. Look at this battle. Oh, hang on to it, Deweese. Slight contact with Darling allows the 71 to get to the outside of Braxton Deweese. Deweese battling with the 71 of Brett Hahn. Braxton Louise, Brett Hahn side by side. Meanwhile, up at the front of this one, Ron Hart is there. Can he make something happen? Up off the corner to 5. Kemp shows the way. Hart is second. Third is Swank. Fleury is fourth. Zach Coyer rounding out that top 5. But as we watch this battle coming in with 25 laps to go, or closing in on there, I should say. Ron Hart trying to make something happen. Meanwhile, Brett Hahn and Charles Darling side by side. Here comes Braxton DeWeese. Are they going to pin down the 88 of Darling here on this late run? Those tires hot and grippy and slippery all at the same time. Move Hahn into 6. Here comes Braxton DeWeese. DeWeese going to try to roll the outside of the speedway around the 88 of Darling as well. 25 laps to go. For your race leaders who are still battling, is now Ron Hart right there applying the pressure. 25 to go. Ron Hart with a look down to the inside. You can see the 5 starting to swap back and forth up on the exit. Hart to the inside. Slight contact off of turn number 2. 5 sideways, really getting at it. We might have a change for the race lead. Up off the turn number 4, Ron Hart to the inside. We got our first lead change with 23 laps to go. Ron Hart unable to clear him though. Kemp with a run back to the outside. Can he make something happen? Up off the corner now, Hart has sole possession, but Kemp going to switch back to the inside. Kemp down low underneath Ron Hart. Hart onto the outside. Down the backstretch to go. Kemp gets sideways. 21 to go here, and Ron Hart has sole possession of the race lead. He's trying to run away and hide. Hayden Swank going to be in that 3rd position. He closes in as those two battled it out. Shrunk the race lead, so we got a 3-car heavyweight fight. As Matt Kemp starting to fade with that number 5 car, the Edgewater Automation. Number 5, the handling starting to go away on him. With 20 laps to go, and this battle is some 4 seconds in front of 4th running Nick Fleury. Kemp up the racetrack. Here comes Hayden Swank down to the inside. He'll make the pass in the turn number 1. So now Swank will try to set sail on the 51 of Hart. These two drivers, no love lost between them. Your top 2 is now the race leader working into lap traffic. That was Lewis Flowers up the racetrack, getting out of the way of your race leaders. Now the 2 of John DeMeester as well between himself and the race leader Hart and Swank, and he'll give way. Hahn has made his way around Zach Coyer. Let's take a look and see how that happened. See Coyer down to the inside, got loose up off of turn number 2, and looks like the 71 rolling the outside, and that'll take that 5th spot away. Remember, the 71s, we come back to live pictures, started dead last here this evening. Hart leads at 14 to go, this time at the stripe. Swank runs in 2nd. He is about 0.6 of a second behind them. Matt Kemp is 3rd. 4th spot, Nick Fleury. Brett Hahn runs 5th, and here's a good battle. Braxton Deweese trying to close in on the 13 of Coyer. And he is battling with the 88 of Darling. Those three drivers have been nose to tail, side by side and swapping paint all race long. I'd like to thank Chris and Doug and Justin. It's all on the YouTube chat for tuning on in. Thank you guys very much. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Let these drivers know that you appreciate the efforts that they are doing out there. And this race, very clean so far. Just that opening lap yellow way back on lap number 1. And Ron Hart takes the race lead with 24 laps to go. He is going to try to hold on to pick up the victory here at the new Smyrna Speedway. 14 cars still on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap with 10 to go is the 7-Eleven of Eric Hahn. And Hahn has chased down Braden Cook in at number 49. And they are battling for position as your race leaders close in with 9 to go. 9 laps to go for your race leaders. We go on board with them. That's how it looks around this racetrack, folks. 7 to go here tonight with a 51 of Hart. He sees the 35 there, some half second behind him. And lap traffic looms in front. You see the marbles starting to gather up on the outside of that racetrack, so they wonder how high can they go without getting into those marbles. Let's see if the Goodyear blimp shows those marbles any better. You can see them starting to formulate up on the extreme high side right there, especially up off of turn number 4. 5 laps to go that time at the stripe. It is the 51 of Hahn. Deweese and Coyer, though, still battling out, though they have settled it down there. About a car length between those drivers. Is now Hayden Swink starting to close in on your race leader. A bumper cap rolling down the racetrack. We'll see if that'll cause a yellow flag. Not sure who that was off of. Lap traffic running the same line as your race leader, and that is a battle for position right there in front of them. Ron Hart got to navigate it as this time off of turn number 4. The popsicle sticks are up. 2 laps to go. 2 to go for Hart as Deweese gets around Coyer. For the time being is Eric Hunt up around the racetrack. Deweese and Coyer side by side. White Silk is out as the 51 of Ron Hart sees it first. Ron Hart bought his time, let Kemp get out to a big lead, ran him back down, took the race lead back in lap 20 with 24 laps to go. And Ron Hart is going to be victorious here at New Smyrna. Swank will come home third. Kemp in fourth as Braxton Deweese is going to hold off the 13 of Coyer for the 6th spot. 7th of Coyer, Darling, Mojeski, and McDonald unofficially your top 10. As your race leader, Ron Hart, comes down the front stretch and is going to do the burnout. Burn it if you got it. Ron Hart picking up the win in our Sunoco victory lane moment. Slides it perfectly down into victory lane. And Ron Hart going to be very happy here this afternoon as Ron Hart picks up the win. Hayden Swank going to go into that number 2 spot. And we will see if we can catch up with everybody here. Here we'll start our post-race show. With our race winner. We'll go back a little bit further here. We'll go back here with 24 laps to go. And we'll put it on here with this battle between your race leader, Ron Hart, picking up the win. And he will do so as we get them all unbuckled down here on the front stretch. He gets out of the car. And Ron Hart, man, you look worn out after that one, but a very excited driver you are as you come home with the win. Talk us through that race. We saw how Kemp jumped out to the early race lead there and gapped you guys pretty largely, and you're able to run them down. And talk us through that, how you worked them over with about 24 laps to go.
Yeah, man, those are the fun ones. It was a good time, battling up front with a bunch of real racers, and Matt went a little too hard, I felt like, and burned his stuff up a little bit probably, and I kind of bided my time a little more, and he did a really good job with what he had, making it really hard to pass him, and had to use him up a little bit, but I'm sure he understands, and those are the ones that are good, man. That's why I do this sim. It helps get you better for real life, and stuff like that is what does it.
Yeah, I mean, this racetrack here, you really had to save your stuff early on. We talked about it in the pre-race show and during the heat races. The outside line, I mean, it propelled you in that heat race to I think, just a good launch there. Were you nervous starting, or were you licking your chops, I guess, being able to start on the outside of the front row here tonight? But Kemp just really got the number and ran away hard. Were you just kind of biding your time knowing that New Smyrna usually goes green?
Yeah, this is probably one of my better tracks. If I had to pick a track to win a race at, this would be right up there. And it always wears the tires a little bit. You can make some time around the top like Matt was doing, but seems really burn them up. So I was kind of committed to just rolling the bottom, especially the first half of the race, and just saving the tires. And it worked out. He come back to us pretty good there, and probably was better than him for a while. Just really wanted to take my time and make the pass right. There really wasn't any pressure to do it quick. And got my opportunity, got the lead, and then it was just about managing your stuff and keeping Hayden back there.
Yeah, you saw, and once Hayden got by, you guys stayed about a half a second, and those last few laps with lap traffic in front of you, probably not really trying to push yourself through lap traffic, but also knowing that you have a Hayden Swank who's gotten really quick here in the later half of this season. Hard to believe that this is already round number 12 into the books. Next week we head to Lucas Oil, the IRP. Big half-mile, multiple grooves of racing. We're looking forward to that one. But how's your outlook headed into that week? And next week you're going to have to start tail of the field here once again with the American Sim Racing Sunoco Invitational Series.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll make it next week. We're leaving for vacation early Thursday morning, so I might sit it out. But we'll see if we get everything packed up and ready to go. I might try to show up last minute and get in here. It's one track for sure. It'd be fun to try to come from the back there. I missed a couple of them earlier this year, so I'm not doing the points. We're here trophy hunting. So tonight feels really good to get that trophy, and hope to make it next week. If not, we'll be back for the next one.
Sounds good, Ron. Who makes it all possible here on this 51 to be in victory lane?
Matt's got to give a shout out first to Tanner, dude, because we had a really hard time with the late model stocks and got a lot of cautions and wrecked race cars, and it just wasn't a lot of fun. And he did a good job reinventing this series and inviting a group of guys who really race well. Last week was caution free. Tonight we had only one caution, and that makes it fun, to learn and kind of get some good racing in with really good race car drivers. So shout out to the guys who put the league on, and of course shout out to my parents who are watching tonight. So happy to get a win for them.
All right, well, congratulations, Ron, and yeah, definitely it's been a great season so far, and it's winding down. We know the next season's already getting loaded up into the barrel, so we'll get some information out to our race fans that tune in each and every week. But congratulations on this win. Celebrate this one, and we hope to see, if not, have a safe vacation. We'll see you at the next one.
Thanks, Al. Have a good night.
There you go. That is tonight's race winner, Ron Hart, in car number 51. Let's see if we can get in touch with our second place finisher. That would be the number 35 of Hayden Swank. And, well, Hayden, I won't call you the bridesmaid again, but you really worked hard for this runner-up position here this afternoon at the New Smyrna Speedway.
Oh, yeah. Today that was a battle. That was probably the toughest race we've run all year. It was really tough to pass. The line kept moving around. The car was changing. Rear tires were wearing out pretty good. I mean, it had it all. It definitely had it all.
Yeah, I mean, talk about how difficult this racetrack is to save your stuff and also to have to keep a good pace here. We know historically, and we touched upon it within the broadcast, that this track, relatively a hard track to pass, but you can get passing done, but it uses up your tires a lot there. So how hard of it was it to kind of know that this race could really go green flag and also try to keep the competitors that you were racing for this win with in front of you and kind of at a close pace where you could have made a strike when you needed to?
Yeah. Usually, more my bread and butter is the even rougher tracks that wear out the tires even more than that. Which meant I had to run it a little bit harder than I wanted to just to keep within, striking distance of those top two. But at the end of the day, I think we did do a good job of saving the right front. The problem was the 51 did too. I just never quite had enough overspeed on him. I couldn't find anything that was working. But I think, Ron had an incredible race there, incredible win for him. But just wish we would have got another shot at him there, maybe 15 more laps, and I think we might have been able to get to that bumper.
Well, you're going to come out of here with a runner-up place and a good overall night for the point standings. And next week we head to IRP up in Indiana. In that track, 2-3 crews are racing. We're going to see you guys all over that racetrack. How is IRP for you? I feel like that kind of falls in your wheelhouse. That track's a little bit of rougher on the tires and kind of more of a driver's track. I feel like that may fall right into your wheelhouse.
Yeah. I grew up doing the bull rings, flat tracking. That was always my bread and butter. And, I love IRP. I'd say it's one of my favorite tracks on the service. And I can't wait to get there. The problem is me and the super late model there just aren't always the best combo. But I think with this oval refresh and being able to move around grooves, I think I'm going to take to it pretty quickly. So definitely looking forward to that one.
Well, congratulations on this runner-up spot. We look forward to seeing what you can do next week at IRP, but who made it all possible here tonight at the New Smyrna Speedway to get you here on the podium?
Yeah, huge shout-out to QuickTime Motorsports Media for hooking us up with a pretty sweet-looking ride. Also want to thank Sunoco, Boardwalk Subs, Plant, Turn 3, and everybody that helps put this show on each and every week. I know a lot of work goes into it, and I'm excited to see that this season's been a great one for the ASRC and the super late models, and can't wait to carry on for these last 3 races and finish strong.
Yeah, last 3 races were in a tight points battle starting to shape up here. We'll touch on that next week at IRP. But Hayden, congratulations on your second place finish here this evening. Congratulations, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
There you go. Your second place finisher here this afternoon. That is the 35 of Hayden Swank. And the driver that led the most laps here this evening, the car number 5, this is Matt Kemp. And Kemp, you started out, you ran away from the field there, but I think New Smyrna reached up and took the goodness out of those tires, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. iRacing could have brought rain a little sooner and ended the race about 20 laps sooner. I would have been pretty happy with that. But, no, yeah, definitely used them up a little too much there in the first 80. Just kind of banked on a caution, and, man, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, this track normally, known for a lot of green flag laps, but it can also, usually have a few yellow flags as well. As just the nature of how tough this racetrack is. You look at it from above and you're like, oh, that track's not that difficult. But this track, you really have to manage your stuff, and it very line sensitive, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was actually pretty cool being able to move around and run the bottom and then run the middle and just kind of find a little bit of grip. I felt like it might have changed a little bit throughout the race, whereas, you know, kind of the middle was faster at one point, and I kind of felt like the bottom got to be pretty decent. So that was pretty fun moving around like that. But yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way there with saving tires here.
Yeah, you're going to come home with that third place finish. Nothing to shake a stick at. You got a heat race win here this evening and in heat race number 1, and you're going to come home with a podium spot. That's not too bad, I don't feel.
No, I'm pretty happy with it. I haven't been on here in a little bit, so I was not really expecting to run very well. So leading the most laps is already more than I expected to do. So I was pretty happy with that at least, and frustrated with myself for using too much tire there and kind of taking myself out of it there at the end.
Well, you're going to come home with that third place finish, and hopefully we see you next week. The series is headed up to the IRP, to the Lucas Oil International Raceway Park up there, Indianapolis Raceway Park, I should say. We hope to see this number 5 car there, and if we do, does that fit your driving style, and what kind of racing do you expect that we'll be able to see next week?
I'm not really sure. I know in the past that place has really been up around the fence, maybe a little bit in the middle, so it could be interesting. Kind of just going to come down to, again, kind of like this week, if we get long runs, just kind of who can roll the middle and keep it under people and keep that run up off the corner and keep the rear tires on it. So, you know, it'll be pretty tough to pass, but I think you'll see a good race next week for sure.
I think it'll be a good one myself. We hope to see you there, Matt. But we know there's some people on the side of this race car that you need to thank to make it all possible for you.
Yeah, for sure. Zach Nichols actually made the paint scheme, so Zach, thank you for that. I think it looks pretty darn decent, and knew I needed to run it at least once here because he just made it right after I ran the last race I ran and haven't been back in a little bit. So, you know, needed to run that, and then obviously thank you to everybody at ASRC for putting the league on, and you know, they do a really good job running everything, and it's a lot of fun to run, so appreciate them allowing me to be here.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks for broadcasting too.
No worries. We enjoy it and we have fun with it, so we thank you for the kind words, and definitely Tanner and the group here put on a good show, and it wouldn't be a good show without you guys driving out there, so you guys deserve a pat on the back as well. But congratulations on this third place finish. We hope to see you next week. If not, we'll see you on the racetrack, I'm sure, at some point. And congratulations once again.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
There you go. That's Matt Kemp coming home in spot number 3 this evening. And that only means one thing left to do, and that's look at your full field rundown here this evening. Ron Hart going to pick up the win over Hayden Swink and Matt Kemp. We talked to all 3 of them. Nick Fleury will come home 4th. Brett Hahn rallies to 5th after starting 17th on the field in what pretty much was a green flag contest. Braxton Louise 6th. 7th to Zach Coyer, Charles Darling, Caleb Mojeski, and Devin McDonald rounding out your top 10. Stephen Hoffman will come home 11th. Andrew Hardings 12th. Braden Cook 13th. Eric Hahn 14th. John DeMeester, Lewis Flowers, and Noah Boucher, your 17 car starting field. Mark Welch, too much damage in the heat race to continue on this evening. He will come home with an 18th place finish. 1 week from tonight, we'll head to the IRP Indy Raceway Park up in Indiana. We look forward to that. We look forward to hopefully seeing you as well tuning on in here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. But until next week, everybody, my name's Upstate Al. On behalf of everybody here at the Turn 3 Racing Network, we wish you a safe and fun week of racing. Tune in each and every night on the Turn 3 Racing Network for all sorts of different racing, all the way from the short tracks to the high banks of Daytona and everything in between. But until then, we'll see you in Turn 3. Good night, everybody.